My name's Marissa. I started at Suncrest last year, March of last year. My very best friend Dorothy brought me in when I asked her if I could go to church with her one day because she kept talking about it. I used to go to church when I was little. I went when I was an adolescent, 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade, and it wasn't a very welcoming place. It was kind of a judgmental place, and it wasn't a good place, and it turned me away from church and from Christ in general. My teenage years were a little rough. I wasn't always the best person, and the person that I could have been and should have been because I had fallen away from that. And in 2007, I lost my dad. I had this feeling of, I wasn't angry like a lot of people I know are when they lose a parent, especially at 19. I wasn't angry with God. I was thankful to him that he had taken my dad away from sickness and away from pain and brought him home to a place where he was safe and happy and healthy. So I wanted to reconnect with God, and I wanted to have that reconnection. I was searching, and I continued to search and search and search for 7 years until I finally found my home in Suncrest. I was there 5 minutes my first day before Jamie walked up and introduced himself. Instantly. Like, "Hi, I'm Jamie. Nice to meet you. It's nice to have you here." Every person I met, "We're glad you're here. Welcome." Every other place I went to, the pastor would say that, or the priest, or whoever the preacher was, would say, "Welcome. It's nice to have you here," but nobody else did. But at Suncrest, every person I met stepped up and introduced themselves and said, "Hi, welcome, it's nice to meet you." So I felt like I was wanted there, and people wanted me there, and they were happy. They weren't just saying it to say it because that's what you're supposed to say. People were saying it because they really meant it. They really felt like they were happy to see me, and they were glad that I was there. Baptism was always the one thing I always associated with being a Christian, and I got baptized when I was 12 because I was led there. I was not by God, by someone else. By people telling me, "This is what you're supposed to do. You have to do this." I hadn't made that choice. So when I started coming to Suncrest, I felt like that baptism didn't count. It didn't mean anything because it wasn't a decision that I had made. But I knew pretty early on that baptism was something that I wanted to do now for me. It was that final step that I needed to take in becoming a Christ follower and becoming someone who was closer to God. Because I knew within the first visit to Suncrest that I wanted to be a Christ follower, someone who gave her life for God and to God and followed him completely, and baptism was that final step. Dorothy and I got baptized together. My best friend and I, this was something that we wanted to do together. It was something that we wanted to do to cement not only our bond with each other, but our bond with God together. We wanted to make that step together. So we were standing back behind the curtain, shivering because we're in our shirts and shorts and our bathing suits, and we're shivering because it's cooler back there. But we still felt this overwhelming, right feeling. And she went in the water first, and then I went in the water. And when we both came out of it, we both just started to cry. And we hugged each other, and I felt amazing. I felt like something had come into me and made its home in me and in my heart that was meant to be there, something that had never been there before. Since I lost my dad, I felt this hole, this place that was never going to be filled up again. And when I got baptized and I went into the water and I came out of the water, I suddenly felt like that hole was gone. It was like these pieces of me that were split apart had finally knit back together into one whole person, one whole soul. I had been a broken person. And there are still pieces of me that are coming back that I didn't know weren't there, but that brought that knitting back together. It started that sewing of my pieces back together. It doesn't matter how far from him you think you are, you're never too far. You are never too old. You are never too broken to find your home, to find your place with God. Because it doesn't matter what you've done, what you think you've done, He will always love us. He wants to bring all of us back. No matter how broken or not broken you are, it's never too late. Don't ever think it's ever too late for you to come home.